What's up, beautiful people, and welcome to another episode of Don't Keep Up with the Joneses. 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 What's up, beautiful people, to another episode of Don't Keep Up with the Joneses. It's me, Rickey Jones Jr., and we also have the oh so lovely
Chrystle Jones.
Back again for another video, and this one is part 2 of the frequently asked questions that we receive about moving to Johannesburg, South Africa. And actually, these questions came from the comment section of the first video. So as we said back then, we also say it right now. If you have any questions, let us know in the comment section below, and we will do a video just for you to answer those particular questions. So actually, there are some questions that you may have to answer, some things that I may be able to add to, okay, but we're gonna go ahead and get into it. Because you handle things that I don't handle. And okay, so that's right. The reason why.
Teamwork make the dream work.
Correct. And stay in your lane at the same time.
Listen.
Anything you want to say before we go?
I do. I want to say something to that.
I can feel it.
Because that is how things work well for us. Mm-hmm. Because I was speaking particularly to the move, but in life in general. There are things that with this move, people could ask me and I'm like, I literally have no idea because Rickey is handling that. And they're like, but you don't know? No, I don't know because he's handling it and there's so much to do. I trust it if he's handling it. He's going to handle it well and I can't bog myself down double checking what he's doing. If he's doing it, he's doing it.
And it's done.
And if I'm doing it, I'm doing it.
Correct.
And so, you know, it's good to have a spouse that I can trust.
Yes.
So yeah, that's how we've survived this whole journey.
There it is.
He do some things and I do some things.
And we make it to the end at the same time. Hello. Yeah. Love marriage advice for you. You didn't even know you need it. But even if it's not marriage advice, it's partner advice, right?
Yes.
Find a team or a partner that you can do life with, or a team that you can do life with that make life so much easier. Don't try to do everything. Jesus Christ, that's the thing. That's the word for the day.
Word for the day.
Don't do everything. Okay, question number 1. The question is, how will someone from the States, here's the question.
We're here.
Hello, how would you suggest someone from the States will look for good schools in South Africa for their kids?
So I would say the first thing that you can do is Google. And I'm not even trying to, be smart mouth or anything like that. But Google actually is a wonderful resource because then you're going to be able to see, you can literally just type in top schools in South Africa, top international schools in South Africa. And so Google will spit out a list and they'll show you the top schools and some of the things you want to look at. Accreditation. We want to make sure that with our kids going to school, no matter where we live after this, their credits will be able to carry over and transfer if we go to another country, if we end up back in the States for a little bit, wherever we go. We want to make sure our kids aren't going to be put in lesser grades because the accreditation wasn't proper or all over. So that's the thing. You want to read reviews because reviews are out there, even on schools. And so I would say that would be the most important thing. Google it, make sure they're accredited internationally, and then also read reviews about the school, and then after you've nailed down your search, start watching YouTube videos about the school. And so that was very good. That was like a very practical approach to picking the schools, and I think even for myself, the first thing that came to my mind as we talked about it is the long-term plan. What was our plan going into it, knowing the grand scheme of things? So we knew that we wouldn't stay in Johannesburg for the length of them going to school, right? For 18 years, we would not be in one particular place. So we had international schools in mind. With everything that Chrystle said, that was the breakdown and approach we went about it. And we looked at the top 3 international schools. And from there, we visited 2 of them. Well, no, we visited 1 of them. And the kids happen to be going to another one of them, right? But more than anything, it's the idea of having a big picture in mind, Googling it, and also just looking at other YouTube channels. Shouts out to the Real South Africa because they did a tour at one of the schools that I was like, oh, okay, this looks like a very good school. And so they introduced us to a school
when we visited, we looked up. It was another Reddit was another one that we saw and we toured it. So it's all about knowing the plan, knowing the end goal, and then just making sure your child is in a school that meets them. And I will say, even like knowing your child, there are a lot of different schools. So there's like a French school that speaks French. Our kids don't know a lick of French. They don't.
Right. And that school is also available in the States. So again, that's international idea. They have schools in more than just one location. And I would say even some of the top schools that I noticed in South Africa have more than just one location of the school within South Africa that have 8 campuses, that have 5 campuses. So that's another thing you can look at too. How many campuses does this school have, not only around the world, but also in South Africa? So those are just some of the key things. They need to be registered with the state, obviously. So there are certain registration papers that they had to have that even allowed for the kids to study at the schools. So those are things you want to be looking for as far as the registration goes. So there's quite a few things that I think you'll just start asking more and more questions as you go to make sure you're selecting the right place. But
and that's the truth. And we have little kids, so keep that in mind. Our answers are based off of having young kids in elementary school and not even starting elementary school. However, with that being said, like high school, what we would call it, or like college as they would call it, you may have totally different lens and focal points on picking the right school. So keep that in mind as well. And I think you'll get to your ultimate destination. Hopefully that helped you. If not, let us know and we can answer your specific question if it wasn't already. And then the other question is, what transportation services to use from the airport? And
that's a Rickey question.
I can jump in because going there, they have Uber, right? I don't know where you're particularly from, but they do have Uber, which is a popular ride sharing service, similar to taxi cabs, but I don't do taxis. We did it once in New York and it was horrible. When I tell you that ticket price was ridiculous. And so we just stick to Ubers, and they do have Ubers, and we just did a higher level of Uber, and they just did what they need to do. Picked us up from our destination, took us to wherever we wanted to go, be it from the airport or whatnot. And so that's what we did when it was just the 2 of us. However, when we make the move, our plans are to use the services of the Real South Africa. Shouts out to them again, already 2 times, because they do have services that you can solicit or activate or purchase through them. I don't even know the word they use, but anyway. Services that they provide, and one of them are car pickup services. And so there's that. Then I also heard of a guy when we went the second time, he had a driver that was with him and drove him around the whole time he was in Johannesburg. So there's even that. The beautiful thing about Johannesburg is the prices are going to be cheaper there than they would be in the States. And so saying that to say, we're used to a $30 ticket or charge from our home to the airport, which our home was 12 minutes.
Close.
Still $30. However, in Johannesburg, that same trip would be like $5, or really like $5, and that's like the Uber Black. But anyway, all that to say, Uber's a thing. The train, that's another thing too. We took the train from the second trip from our hotel to the airport, and that went by so fast. So the train, Uber. Services.
And I would say too, when you are traveling internationally, especially if you're a female, possibly traveling alone or something like that, I would say Uber Black. Uber Black. Like, don't Uber Black. Okay? So just making sure that when you're using a ride sharing service, you are using the top tier. That's available internationally for your ride sharing service. Honestly, even in the States, if you're a female traveling alone. Don't be doing ride shares. Don't be doing the Uber X. Uber Black or Uber XL. Okay? That's it. You want the top tier. And again, that's thinking about safety things.
Yeah.
Still always letting people know. It doesn't matter if you're in another country. You can always share with somebody your location. You can always let them know verbally, even when you're getting into the Uber, hey, let me make sure I drop this pin to my friend before we take off, so they're following my ride. The drivers know that they have that. So these are just things that you want to be keeping in mind for safety. It's smart in the States and it's smart overseas as well. So making sure that you are also doing those things. I wouldn't suggest just picking a random taxi. I didn't like the safety of taxis before Uber came along, and I still don't like it. I would say definitely veer more towards the Uber or the driver service.
Correct.
But even if you're hiring a driver, I wouldn't just get one when you find it randomly there.
Don't
go through an actual service that you can use. Again, thinking about safety and stuff like that. So
real South Africa, just it is what it is. People that we trust are people who we suggest, and so we trust them, we suggest them. But even too, with the idea of the Uber Black, that's lived experience. We ordered an Uber before, and when I tell y'all, I knew this car just wasn't it, but we had to get to the airport. We opened the door, it was like melted. The console on the front was melted, literally melted. Had stickers on, like child stickers. He was like, yeah, my child decorated it. And I wanted him to be quiet and just get me there because I was frustrated. I was embarrassed having my family in this car. And so learn from our lesson, right? But then another thing that I do as the man, I always sit behind the driver. Like, that's my thing. Like, it is what it is. If I feel like I could take anybody. I feel like at least I could take them enough that she could get away, right? But at the end of the day, I always sit behind the driver. And so that's the thing. And I always have conversations with the driver because I'm just trying to see where you at. Just making sure we going where we need to go. I'm checking the map as you drive and making sure you making all the necessary turns. When you veer off for what? What you veering off for? Is it traffic up there? Or what do you know that I don't see that made you turn right when we should have turned left? Don't feel obligated, or don't feel obligated not to say a thing. Say something if you feel out of order. Say something. So,
and make sure even before you pull off, once the door is closed, that you can open the door yourself. If you need to get out, again, especially again, tips for ladies. If you, before they pull off, close the door, but make sure you have the power to also open the door. There's not a child lock on, or something like that.
And I will say all of this to say, we felt safe every time we were in Johannesburg, traveling around with every Uber. All of that safety was definitely not one of our concerns. So putting that in a situation too. All right, third question for Chrystle. How did you find a realtor to take you to see different homes, and how did you choose? Well, let's just start there. How did you find a realtor to take you to different homes?
And so it was actually easy.
Very.
Again, Google. I literally just Googled like homes for rent in South Africa, and so it'll have a list similar to like we'll have Zillow here or something. I used a similar like platform.
Correct.
I don't remember the exact name.
It was like three different websites.
Right. But literally you'll just be able to pull up different websites. Just like here, there's rent.com and all that type of stuff, Zillow and stuff. And when the listing pops up, you see a place that you like. When you click it, there'll be a contact for a real estate agent at the bottom of all of them. And you can immediately send a WhatsApp to them. If you're not familiar with WhatsApp, it's a messaging app that you're able to use. It's just like you're texting somebody, but you can do it using only Wi-Fi. You can do it internationally versus as well as in the States. But that I would just find a listing that I like, and I would click the agent listed at the bottom, and I would send them a WhatsApp message. Hey, I'm looking to see about this property, and they were generally extremely prompt about getting back with me. And there were very few phone calls. Most of it did happen through the messaging or a voice message that you could send through the WhatsApp.
And it was very easy, very, very easy. Set it up and we walked there. And the beautiful thing about there is that even apartments, any rental properties, they had real estate agents for them. And so that's usually not the case in the States. There's usually like just a managing person that manages like 10 different. But no, there is totally different. It's hands-on. Everybody's friendly, and so it was easy. Just Google.
And that's good to keep in mind too, because you're not going to be able to just drive up to what we would see as like an apartment complex. Yep. You can't just drive up to the apartment complex and go and say, hey, I want to see about a unit. That's not how it works. No. One, there's a gate. So you know what I mean? You need a real estate agent to be able to get inside the gate. So don't think maybe you'll just drive around and pull up to places and just go inside. You need to go online first to be able to contact a real estate agent. And just like here, an agent is listed to a certain property, like an actual house. There, even with the apartments, there are agents listed in certain things. So if you like a home in one building or an apartment in one building,
one apartment, period,
there could be a whole nother agent for the apartment unit next door.
Correct.
So that's important to keep in mind. Correct. Sometimes there are one agent for 10 units in one building, but it's actually less common. So just find what you like, send them a message.
Yep, that's good. And then the second part to that question is, how did you choose the area you plan on living in? I'm visiting in December, but need some directions. Thanks. And so I'll start off with this one. Shouts out to you, visiting in December. We would love to meet you if the opportunity presents itself. However, how did we go about choosing where we were going to live? My thing was safety first. As a man, as a husband of a family, I definitely thought of it with safety in mind. Like, just, it is what it is. And not even, again, that we felt not safe in Johannesburg. I just wanted to feel safety, security when I left my home. I wanted to make sure that I could leave the home and I had to think about or worry about my family. And so the beautiful thing about Johannesburg, which I didn't know until we visited, is that most of the communities have guarded entrances. Gates at the entrances with physical people.
Right, not just virtual guards.
Yeah, no. Like a whole situation, spike strips that you have to go over, barbed wire, all the works, right? All the security measures that make a person like me smile. And so with that being said, it made it a whole lot easier, and the opportunities then opened up far more than I thought it would. And so that was the main thing, safety, as well as with us, we like to live in close proximity to the life that we live.
Right.
And so, you know, that was first, safety first, but then close proximity to the way we do life, which is school, and church, and extracurricular activities. Making sure those three things are close, that was the very vital thing. And then the airport too. We do like to be close to the airport.
Right, we don't like being too far from the airport, but you really hit the nail on the head. The other thing, obviously, like grocery stores or something, making sure they have plenty of grocery stores, so you don't really have to worry about it. But hey, where's the closest grocery store? That was another thing, of course, Rickey was looking at. So just really looking at how you live life, making sure that you're going to be close, because it's a major city. Traffic can get really bad and congested, and so you don't want to spend so much time in traffic that.
Well, we don't.
Yeah, we
don't.
Some
people do.
Some people don't mind because they're used to it. But we didn't want to spend a lot of time in traffic. But like Rickey said, safety was definitely top tier on the list, so that we can just have an enjoyable time there. And there are plenty of amazing, safe, and secure communities. There was one home that we really liked, but it was so far out. You remember it was on like that, in that community, and they had like a clubhouse and everything. Oh my gosh, we loved it.
Copperleaf.
What's the community? That community was beautiful, and that home was beautiful, and I was like, we could so do this, like budget wise, everything. We found something we liked, but then when it came to the school, we were narrowing down our school options, and it was like, the school is just not over here. And then I realized the church was like gonna be it was gonna be
like 25-30 minutes
further than I wanted
it
to be.
Correct. And we used to our home was two lights away from our church, which is where we worked, and then another light away from the kids' school. So we can get from the kids' school, past the church and our job, get to our home 4 lights. So we just used to life like that.
And I think too, one of the reasons that for us being close to the church and everything like that, we don't know people. We've met only like 2 families while we were there. But so we're gonna be building a whole new life, a whole new community. I wanna be close by my church because I know church is a great place to be able to build community, make friends, meet new people that are friends for life. Literally all the friends that I have that have been long-term friends, I'm talking about since I was 7 years old, are people that I met at church. And the close friends that I've made even as an adult are friends that I've made at church. And so I know sometimes people have a hard time building community when they go to new places.
Cheat code.
And I like to build community at church. We have like beliefs. We already have planned meetups because we have service, and then we can build off of those naturally, you know, just through life. And so I didn't want to be having excuses or be so far that it was hard to get the kids involved in activities that may be going on at the church, or me going to women's group nights or different things like that, and forego opportunities to build community. I don't go to a lot of like women's fellowship type stuff. It's just not my, in the past it hasn't been my norm. But my norm is changing because I need to make friends. So we'll see. This is a whole other conversation episode. Yeah, so we'll see. But that's a reason that we really want to be close to our church as well. It's a great focal point for us to be able to build community.
Yep, that's good. Well done, well said, my dear. This is a question for you. Okay. Did you say 2 free bags each person? Which airline is that, if I may ask? Because wow, this will help in future travels.
Oh yeah. Delta. Yes, 2 free bags. So when you're flying internationally, normally airlines will give you 2 free bags. So Delta does it. United does it. American Airlines does it. Most major airlines do it. You know, with Southwest, their thing is already like bags fly free.
But that's not international.
And I don't even...
Oh, okay. Let me let you talk.
Southwest is not even my jam, but
I'm okay with Southwest.
Listen, when they made that extra stop without telling us that we were going to be stopping, I felt like I was on the Greyhound of the skies. I was so confused. We literally, I'm sorry y'all, detour. We're supposed to be going to Norfolk, Virginia. Rickey has family up there. We're going up there for a celebration, a wedding celebration. So excited. Now, me being me, I don't do directions. All directional things Rickey will handle. We're at the airport. We're about to get on the plane.
I'm trying. I get 95.
We're on the airport. We're about to get on the plane. I need to go use the restroom or do whatever I'm doing. Maybe I was going to Starbucks. I was going.
It's the bathroom.
So I get up. I walk away. They start boarding the plane. I come back, but I'm like confused as to where to even go because I'm like, where? That don't even say Norfolk. Like, where are we going? Like, and so he has to show me to make sure I don't even miss the gate because it didn't even say Norfolk on the thing, which it should have. We're supposed to be stopping in BWI.
Correct.
And so we
to true transfer.
Make our way. Get on the plane. Thankfully, I don't miss the plane.
Because, yeah, it says something. It didn't say Norfolk. It didn't say BWI.
It said, like, something else, like some other place. Like, why? But anyways.
We went to Cincinnati.
We get on the plane. On our ticket, it said, when we booked the flights, Rickey booked the flights, it says Tampa to BWI to Norfolk. Cool, 1 stop. Da, da, da. We get on the plane, Tampa, we land. Where are we? Like, they're like, okay, you get up off the plane, everything, did boarding. And they're like, if you're going to BWI, stay seated. Wait, why aren't we in BWI? Because my ticket said Tampa to BWI to Norfolk. We're in Cincinnati. What are we doing in Cincinnati? Like, so all these people are getting off the plane and we're boarding. People are moving around because you know it's no assigned seats. And I'm like, why are we here? Why are we here? I was literally so confused. And then we left Cincinnati. We went to Baltimore. We went from Baltimore to Norfolk. So first of all, we done made 2 stops when you told me 1.
Yeah.
Then all of this happens. We get back on the plane to leave. Supposed to be Norfolk to BWI, BWI to Tampa. We go Norfolk to BW. Well, before we get on the plane, I asked them, excuse me, is this plane making any extra stops? And they're like, what are you talking about? And I was like, because I just want to make sure, is it actually going from here to BWI? And then he's like, the plane doesn't make extra stops. Yes, ma'am, it does, because it did it on the way here. And she's like, no, I don't know. It's going to BWI. We stopped at BWI. Thankfully, we went straight there. They tell everybody on the plane, if you are continuing to Tennessee, just stay on the plane. Like, they are making an extra stop again, but it was happening after our stop this time. Like, who does that? How is that even legal to let me get on a plane and you didn't tell me you was making these extra stops? Like, I'm sorry, I got so far off track. Most major airlines will allow you, when you're flying internationally, to take 2 free bags. Like I said, Delta, Qatar, British Airways. I'm trying to think of some of the airlines that you'll come in contact with if you're flying over there as well.
Yeah, those are the main ones. I mean, you gave the main ones that people most likely will use, and I would just say, Delta is the way to do it.
Yeah.
Truth be told.
It's Delta is gonna be your normally your most efficient route, time wise as well as price wise. Qatar may have a good deal every now and then as well, and then Delta partners with KLM, and so you can cheat code get a cheaper flight. I'm constantly looking to see what partners, what airlines different people are partnered with, because sometimes we'll be on a Delta flight, but I'll book it through KLM if the price is cheaper on their side, and it's still, we checking out Delta and everything, and it's because they're partners. So, yeah.
There's that, or there's even cards, right? If you have a credit card through Delta, I think it's the purple one, they allow you to have free bags domestic and internationally. So, you know, there's ways around it, but you answered that also brilliantly.
Sorry for the tangent, you guys.
That's okay. And here's the moral of the story. Now, I don't book travel.
No.
Okay, Chrystle does. I went against that.
And tried to book a rental car.
And I tried to book a rental car. And again, I booked a rental car for our trip to Atlanta. I couldn't even leave Tampa.
Moment 1, he goes, I booked the rental car. I was like, who did you book a rental car with? He tells me immediately no. I start Googling and I'm like,
I tried to get a deal.
I'm like, that's at the airport? Because I've never seen that pick up at the airport.
I went to the airport, I looked around, I'm like, no, it's not. I Googled it, oh, it's outside the airport. Got to the destination, realized you couldn't leave. First of all, side tangent, okay, bear with me, zoom past 3 minutes if you don't want to hear this part.
The whole time he's in there, I'm Googling all the reasons we're not going to be able to go with these people and screenshotting it. Go ahead.
Because I'm in there, I'm talking, I'm hearing other people talk before me. If you're a Tampa or Florida resident, you can only drive 50 miles a day. 50 miles a day? So people can't even get to one location with 50 miles. Okay, strike number 1. Strike number 2, if you are a Florida resident, you cannot rent a vehicle and leave the state of Florida. Wait a minute. We were going to Atlanta. That was the trip. From Atlanta to Alabama, back to Atlanta, back to Tampa. So off the rip, I couldn't do this. I had to cancel the situation, but you just can't cancel the situation. You gotta call somebody else to call somebody else to then call you, to then call that other person, to then call that person back to say, yes, I'm authorizing to cancel this.
He come out, oh yeah, I canceled the car. I said, go back in. I have a review right here that say they will say they're canceling it, but they're not gonna give us the money. You have to do this, and this. And he goes back inside. Needless to say,
I don't do travel. I don't do travel anymore. I've already relinquished my flight privileges. I realized that trip, that's not my thing. Rental cars, I'm handing that over as well. So, you know.
I do the bookings.
There it is. Again, don't try to do it all. That's the moral of the story, right? I'm just showing you how to live it out.
So thrown off when he told me he had booked that rental car. I was like, You booked a rental car?
I thought I could do something.
From where?
Okay, all right, so lesson learned. But the next question is, so this one has to do with, as we talked about, changing our numbers, and the person was like, not even getting a Google Voice number for your number change. And so I was like, that's pretty cool. I didn't even think about a Google Voice number, and I have one, but then I don't have one, so I had to figure out how to do that.
I'm gonna be honest, communication is not on the top of my list.
Because there's ways to communicate outside of a direct number. There's the WhatsApp, there's the Facebook, there's the Instagram.
And also,
it's my perspective. Hers, you heard it. Mine is, there are multiple ways of communicating with the people that you love or want to stay in communication with. And so all the people that we have, well, let's say it this way. All the people that I have said and want to keep communication with, I told them to download the WhatsApp app.
Yes, I will use WhatsApp with the new number that I have.
From South Africa.
From South Africa. I have an email address. People could, and then you can do like Google Meet, Zoom calls, I guess you could say, through like your email address and stuff like that. I'm literally a person that will leave my phone in a room, let it die. Communication is not at the top of my list.
Boom, diggity. Answered in multiple ways, but we got back to the roots. Next question, my dear, and this is one, and then we have one more after this. Last two questions. So, will you guys be working in Africa? So I'll answer this by saying no, we will not be working there. We're done working, as you may have usually know it to be.
We're done working.
We're here to add value to people. At the end of the day, we're here to add value to people and make their lives better. And so we do have businesses, right? So it's not like we're doing nothing. We're not trust fund babies that we know of, but we do have businesses that we are taking there and having the ability to flourish through them. And Chrystle does have a writing project that she will be doing while in South Africa. So we'll be doing those things, and obviously we'll be sharing what the partnerships look like or what even life will be like as far as activities. I'm sure you're like wondering, how are you able to get money? We'll show those things, okay? And so definitely look out. I understand the question. The answer to the question is no, we will not be clocking in at, your local H&M or any retail store in Johannesburg. So that was the answer. You have anything?
Yeah, I think like Ricky said, we don't work anymore. We find ways to add value to people's lives, and we do that. We do it now, and we will continue to do that through our businesses. But we are not going to have traditional go and clock in jobs. We are leaving that life behind us here in the States for this time. If God says something different, then we'll start doing something different. But at this point, that is where we are, and that's what we'll be doing. So yeah, I'm excited about that.
Correct. Yeah, because a lot of it we don't know, right? That's a part of having businesses. That's a part of the life of faith. You don't know all the answers. However, when you step out on what is being said and what God shares with you, and you get to walk in the full liberty of all of it, right? And so we don't have any wonderments. It's just true faith. God knows what we need. God knows the bills that we have or the things that are required of us financially. And so we trust and believe that all will be taken care of. And
I would say with that, we're not just like these reckless people as well. God did definitely put us into a great position where we had a home that we were able to sell. So we have some money. Now it's not millions of dollars, but we do have some money now, so we're not like, we're leaving and we got $200 in the account and it'll work itself out. You definitely need to listen and hear from God. Correct. Listen and hear from God, because I will even say what allowed us to be in this position started off with a decision we made 3 years ago when we were obedient and we bought a home. I was like, Ricky, I feel like God is saying, like, we just got to get a home. Whatever it is, we just got to do it. And, you know, he prayed, he heard from God. And so don't even necessarily think that the journey you're on may only start with a word that you get today. There are steps that God will give you today that you don't even know will make sense for you or tomorrow, your year, 2, or in this case 3 years from now, that are going to help be a supply to launch you for what he's telling you to do. So listen to the spiritual side, have the practical plan as well. Let God give you the practical plan, you know, through listening to him. So that is why we're also in a great position where we can, you know, launch out in this way.
Yep. Well said, my dear. Last question.
Yay.
This is for you.
Okay.
You've handled this. Do they have school lunch there? I think I saw where they don't have cafeterias in the schools.
Yes, 100%. They do have school lunch. Yes, 100%. I will be signing up for it. Listen, people that know me know I'm not that mom. I'm not sitting around packing lunches. I'm not, like, I feel like mentally there was a part of me for a long time that wanted to be that mom. Cause like, look at them. They're like making all the cute sandwiches and doing all the things. And it's not my thing. I'm not doing that. So yes, they do have school lunch. I'm sure that's something, I can't say a blanket for all schools, but there are schools that have school lunch. Now, do the kids eat in their classrooms as opposed to in a cafeteria? That may be the case depending on the school. There are certain schools that just have an open field area where the kids will eat instead of sitting, instead of going to a cafeteria. So, you know, there may not be a cafeteria per se, but do they have schools that provide lunch so you don't have to pack a lunch? Yes, they do. And I check yes to that box because I'm not making lunches.
There it is. And I'm not making lunch either, right? And so, because I don't do that part in the family, I have one night, which is Taco Tuesday, and outside of that, which that's neither here nor there. My family is trying to buck against Taco Tuesday. So if y'all are like me and y'all love Taco Tuesday, put it in the comment section because I love Taco Tuesday. But my wife and her little minion, Rain, is trying to buck Taco Tuesday.
But when we get there, for her to have some sense of familiarity, she probably will want it at first. If nothing else, I will say, like, oh, let's at least do it the first month. Like, just to help. I'm constantly thinking of ways to continue familiarity with such a big move for the kids. And so, for at least 2 weeks, I've already minimized it.
I was about to say a month. Couldn't get probably a month.
I was going to say 1 to 2, for at least 1 to 2 weeks.
1 to 2 weeks? That's just say not at all. Just say not at all.
We will at least have one Taco Tuesday when we first get there.
That's okay. Because not always do I have to make it. Maybe sometimes we'll go out and get it.
Nah, you got me.
But it has to be tacos.
Restaurant experience. And we found a really good Mexican restaurant.
We did find one at Monte Carlo Casino. Yeah. I forgot the name of it. But anyway.
Monte Casino.
Yes, I was saying it wrong.
I do that all the time, and that's the only reason I was able to catch it, because I kept saying it to you. Because, well, while we were there, he was like, put it in the GPS, and I put it in Monte Carlo Casino, and I was like, oh my God, why is it like 25 hours from here or something like that? It was taking us to France. And I was like, oh wait, Monte Casino. So that's the only reason it's like embedded in my mind. Yeah. So yeah.
So those are the questions that came our way. Therefore, these are the questions that we answer in this particular video. If you have any other questions, wait, before I do that, do you have any questions that people may have asked you since the video or in person that you can maybe answer? I'm thinking over it myself and nobody's asked me any pertinent question.
I mean, people have asked me, when are you guys leaving? And we actually finally have a solid answer.
We do. Which, if you're seeing this video, we're already in Johannesburg. However, the answer was...
We flew over on August the 23rd and arrived in Johannesburg, South Africa on August the 24th.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you heard what was said, which means it was a full-length trip, full day. But really it wasn't, right? It's in time, right? Because Johannesburg is 6 hours ahead of us on the Eastern time zone, right, from Atlanta. And so it was 6 hours ahead. It wasn't a 24-hour flight, like nothing. That wasn't what it was.
It's 15.
22 hours. It's a 15-hour flight. And so, yes, we left at 9 p.m.
9:20, yeah.
9:20 on Wednesday, arrived 7 p.m. in Johannesburg. And so we are here.
In South Africa.
But we are there. But we're here. Once you see this video.
There.
You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, we made it.
I told Ricky the embassy held up to what they said. They said the visas would take 4 to 8 weeks, and it literally came the 8th week. A day after what the final 8th week would be. In that 8th week, it came to the date. Arrived at our house the day after that official 8th week. So,
which is the answer to a question, right?
Yeah.
How long do you expect the visas to come? The man, David is the man, which most people probably know his name by now, is 4 to 8 weeks. 4 to 8 weeks is what it is. Truth be told, I would just say 6 to 8 weeks. Bump the 4. You can leave that 4 somewhere else. I don't know who that 4 is for. 6 to 8 weeks. Why? Because I've heard of other people getting it in 6 weeks, and we're one of the ones that made it in 8 weeks.
Yeah.
6 to 8 weeks.
But just plan for the latter end. And all the things that you're doing, make arrangements and plan for the latter end, because you can always move it up, move your trip up or whatever if it comes early. But we kept having to reschedule flights, pushing them back and all of that type of stuff. And it's fine. It's fine. It's fine now. We're here now. And I think honestly, I had even gotten to a place where I was just like, it's fine. Whatever. However long we're here, we're here.
For sure.
This is what it is.
Right.
And so we know it will come when it's supposed to come. And that's just where we had gotten to a place to settle. But as God does what God does, normally that's when the shift happens, when he see you finally got yourself at peace. Then it's like, boom, shakalaka.
And that it was. So, with that being said, great people, make sure y'all go check out the video when we talked about us receiving the visas and the journey that began the moment that the visas touched our hands for the first time, right? I was about to say again, but for the first time. And so, with that being said, great people, we will end this particular video. And if you made it this far, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Obviously, you like the content, you enjoy it with your salt. So go ahead and lock into this beautiful family, right? And stay tuned to all the other extravagant things and fun things that are to come. So, with that being said, we love you all. We appreciate you all. Peace.